Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome to Overwatch Central. So I am still a little bit ill, so we'll get straight into this video. With the changes to Junkrat, I wanted to speak to somebody that has a lot of experience in this hero. And there isn't anybody better really at the moment than PvP Twitch, who is a GM Junkrat player but also plays a lot of other stuff as well. So in this video, I spoke to him about the buffs, what Junkrat really needs, and overall what is Junkrat's biggest problem. The first thing I want to start with is, it was quite interesting to see the Junkrat changes on paper. I think that really excited people, but then it was weird to see it on the PTR and actually experience it. To begin with, what do you think of the changes? Do you feel that they are what Junkrat needs? And do you think this is a step in the right direction to make him less of a troll pick and more actually viable?
So yeah, what I've been telling people for a long time is that Junkrat really needs a buff, and what I would say is he just needs a buff to his Riptire. Because that's the most inconsistent part about him, is that, I mean, Riptire can be destroyed, it only has 100 HP, so they need to do something about it, which they did do something about it. They gave it a 30% increase in movement speed and infinite wall climb, I guess that's the right term to say. And they also gave Junkrat a second concussion mine that he can use. I think double concussion mine is pretty insane. Especially with no nerf to the damage. I think I would always tell people it would be too overpowered. It's good, I think, because it allows Junkrat to do more mobility, and it allows him to get more finishing blows, and it allows him to create more pressure. And the best part about it is it allows you to get your ult even quicker. So I think it's pretty strong, and now that I've tested it on the PTR, I feel like it's not as overpowered as I thought. I think it's balanced, because what people don't realize is that when you throw both your concussions, you're still back to the normal Junkrat where you have 1 because the cooldown starts and it goes to 1 and then it has to go again and get to 2. So it's kind of just on like opening into fights, you have 2 concussion mines. So the Riptire change is absolutely insane. The 30%, like, I would rather have HP to it, to be honest. I thought that was a better buff because it's just destroyed so easily. The 30% increase in speed it's good. I mean, it's not crazy overpowered in my opinion, but the wall climb change they added is absolutely nuts. Like, if you go to PTR and you play Junkrat, you can climb over every building in the map and you can fly across the map. It's so nuts. Like, you can go in the first point of Iconwald and almost make it to the third point in Iconwald just on 1 Riptire. So it's gonna be crazy what kind of Reddit clips happen if this patch goes live.
For sure, but like, you play Junkrat at the high sort of levels of GM and stuff, and I feel that Junkrat's problem, much like heroes like Hanzo, is the inconsistencies of certainly his like primary fire. Do you feel that that really lets him down, or do you think that it's just more of a perception problem from a lot of players that are maybe going, oh, you're just trolling by picking Junkrat? Yeah,
well, the reason I love Junkrat is because of his burst capability. That's his pro. That's the best thing about him, is that he can burst people down like 240. Like, his grenade plus concussion is a 240 damage combo he can do immediately. And people, the mistake they make with Junkrat is they see slow projectiles as inconsistent, but they're comparing Junkrat to Soldier 76. Like, when you're fighting in an open field combat and you're trying to shoot Soldier 76 with Junkrat, obviously Soldier's going to hit you with more shots than you are going to hit him with nades, because it's easier to dodge. But Junkrat excels in a lot different situations, and you position yourself differently. He's just good in different ways. You don't want to play Junkrat like a Soldier 76. You want to play Junkrat like a Junkrat to remove those inconsistencies, if that makes any sense.
We did see over the last couple of weeks South Korea pick up Junkrat in one of their team compositions, and it was sort of a little bit trolly, but it did have an adverse effect with what they were trying to do. With these changes, as well as I feel players been a little bit more open to the idea, it's hard to call, but do you think that Junkrat's pick rate at the higher tiers and then throughout are going to improve, or do you feel that this still isn't quite enough to get people's attention?
To be honest, I haven't really kept up with the pro scene much. I know that Junkrat has been getting a little bit of love, especially from the Korean team. I feel like the Korean team has so much confidence that they can run almost any hero in the game, especially Junkrat. And I feel like if they played, you know, maybe an insanely strong opponent, they might not have pulled out the Junkrat pick. But that doesn't mean that I think Junkrat's not good and competitive. One of the benefits that Junkrat has is that he's such a low played hero in the high end pool of players, is that people don't even know how to play against him. So when Korea pulls out a Junkrat pick and they know how to play him, and they know how to play him as a team, Usually the other team's like, oh crap, like they're using Junkrat. What do we do against this? Like they don't even know. They'll try and pull out a Pharah, and the Junkrat player on Korea will know how to play a counter against that, like play safer and stuff. But yeah, so the changes to Junkrat and PTR, I think he's gonna see a huge increase in play. I still think he's not going to be considered meta. I don't think people are going to like insta-lock him as much, but I do think a lot of people are going to give him an open mind. And the good thing about the changes is that people, when people pick Junkrat, they're not going to be looked at as a troll pick anymore. People are actually going to be willing to work with it. That's going to be the benefit. The thing is with Junkrat is people, they tend to get automatically tilted whenever they see a Junkrat on their team, especially on offense. I have the benefit of people knowing me, like they play with me at the same rank all the time, so they just know that I play Junkrat, I'm good at Junkrat, so they don't throw games as often. It does happen sometimes, but that's just the benefit that I have. But if people at the low ranks that they don't necessarily know each other, they see a Junkrat on their team, they'll throw. But the buffs to Junkrat are going to be so insane that I think people are actually going to look forward to having a Junkrat on their team, especially when they see how much damage that person will be able to do with it.
Yeah, do you feel that people are going to underestimate Junkrat with the new changes then? Do you feel that players are going to get really caught out by the new Junkrat, or do you just feel that it allows himself to do his job a little bit better?
From what I could tell, just based on like Reddit comments and YouTube comments, that people are like, oh my god, Junkrat's like, he's going to be crazy. I think people are actually underestimating how crazy he's going to be. Like for example, the reason I don't think he's going to be meta is because I don't think people really trust in Junkrat, but I still think Junkrat is going to be absolutely insane. Like I said before, having the second concussion mine is going to allow him to get his Riptire so fast, and the Riptire is just, it's bonkers now. It moves so quick, and you can like jump over buildings more and flank more and create an insane amount of pressure. I feel like Junkrat is going to have a huge impact on the meta. The thing is right now, just how Junkrat is right now without the buffs, if people don't counter me, I win the game. That's just basically how it is. Like if they don't counter me with something like a Pharah Mercy or a Diva Zarya combo, even when they do try to counter me, they struggle. But if you don't counter me, like if you just play like Reinhardt and Hog versus Junkrat, it's like a farm fest for Junkrat. He does so much damage, creates so much pressure, that if people don't respect the Junkrat after he gets buffed, he's gonna just annihilate teams.
I feel as well with the addition of Doomfist, that makes Junkrat a lot stronger as well. Like Doomfist will want to sort of jump into and attack the enemy team, certainly the backline as well, as much as possible. And I think that Junkrat is fairly good at that. I just wanted to sort of get your opinions on that, whether you felt that Junkrat had a role within a team that might be to just shut down Doomfist and to shut down those opportunities and chokes, and also to shut down dive.
Yes. Well, most people didn't realize that until, I think, was it Korea that started playing Junkrat vs Dive? Is that what happened?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I've been saying for months that Junkrat is a counter to dive comp, and I actually had multiple pro players laugh at me in game when I would tell them that. I was like, Junkrat is actually really, really strong versus dive comp because he's anti-mobility, he's trap, and he's burst damage, and his Riptire kills dive. Junkrat is also really anti-Doomfist. The best thing about Junkrat versus Doomfist isn't the fact that he can kill him really easily. Doomfist has a big hitbox and he's easy to hit. It's that concussion mine when you boop Doomfist in the air. Doomfist actually relies on his abilities a lot because it gives him shield. So if you're booping Doomfist in the air, he's unable to get those shields that will keep him alive.
So you can just sort of tear him apart.
Yeah.
Do you feel that there's a lot of negative connotation, I suppose, surrounding Junkrat? Do you feel that this is the beginning of the end of that? Do you feel that players' opinions are getting better with it? Or with how competitive kind of is, with how toxic and horrible it kind of feels at the moment, do you feel that that's not going to be the case?
I think people will start to respect Junkrat more, but I feel like there's always going to be that toxic background that people see towards Junkrat, just because a lot of people that bring hate and toxicity towards Junkrat is they just think about it in like a one-dimensional perspective of Junkrat spams. That's all Junkrat does. Junkrat shoot Zarya bubble. Like, like a Neanderthal thought process, like all Junkrat players are stupid. Like that's just not, I mean, that's not true. Like, a lot of players that play Junkrat are actually extremely good at the game, and they have a lot of game sense. I mean, there are some people that play Junkrat and they just don't really understand, and they'll just shoot, and they'll sit in the back and they'll spam. But that's not the correct way to play, obviously. And what I tell a lot of people is Junkrat is one of the easiest players or heroes in the game to play, but he's also one of the hardest heroes in the game to master.
Either with the buff or without it, what is Junkrat's role on a team? What is he trying to do? I feel, as you said, a lot of players are just wanting to spam into chokes to do a lot of damage, but what they may not realise is that they're giving their healers ult charge, that they're not necessarily finishing off kills. What is Junkrat's role within a team, and how can he effectively succeed at doing that?
I would say Junkrat's role in a general perspective is to earn position for your team. For example, when you're on attack Hollywood, okay? You know the high ground, when you first go through the first choke point, there's like a high ground in that building. Usually there's a Soldier 76 up there or something, or a Hanzo. I say it's really good for Junkrat to earn that position, force that person off high ground, and then your team can push in. But Junkrat can be played in different ways. I tell people you always want to pay attention to what the enemy team comp is, because if they're playing, let's say, a Reinhardt and Orisa, sometimes it's better to just brute force through the shields with your team if you're able to focus fire it down. Let's say you have a Soldier 76 in your team and a Hog, like a lot of damage, and you can just push through them. But what if you have a Genji and a Tracer on your team and they have that same Reinhardt and Orisa? You don't want to be spamming into the shields because you're not going to be accomplishing anything. So then you want to change your role to play more of a flank role and a dive role, which really helps. Currently, you have to dive in with your team. It's good to throw your concussion mine down, wait for the cooldown, and then you jump in and you have your concussion mine ready for burst damage or mobility. But with his upcoming buff, he'll have 2 concussion mines right away, so you don't have to wait. So it's going to be even better with dive comp. And
I imagine a lot of people want to maybe play Junkrat, one-trick him perhaps. What is the biggest sort of mistake that you see a lot of Junkrat players make?
I kind of already said it already, but basically I see a lot of Junkrats, they'll just sit in the back next to their supports and just shoot nades constantly. Like, they're not utilizing their kit. Like, most Junkrats that don't know how to play them right, they won't utilize their trap and they won't utilize their concussion mine. They just sit in the back and they shoot nades. That's like, you're not in a casino, you're not trying to get lucky. You want to actually find kills and earn kills. I think I would say a rough statistic, 50% of my kills are from doing the one-shot combo, where I hit people with a nade and I throw a concussion mine and finish them off immediately. I usually do that by positioning myself, flanking using crouch helps a lot. But a good thing is you can actually just, flank around and you put a trap behind someone when they don't even know you're there, and you can catch them like that. But what I like to do a lot is to get high ground, because it allows you to throw your trap in the middle of the enemy, and trap usually catches people a lot, because if you don't know, trap has 100 HP, so it doesn't really die too easily, because it's basically half a hero. And if they don't sit there and shoot that trap constantly, then it's going to sit there and eventually it's going to catch someone.
And lastly, I guess on the Junkrat stuff anyway, is there anything else that you would change about him, apart from the stuff that's on the PTR?
Man, I had a lot of ideas about this, because I've been saying that Junkrat's been needing a buff for a while, and now he finally got it. My suggestion before the buff came out was to give Riptire more HP, because the main issue is you just can't really, unless you do really unique strategies with Riptire, it's kind of just really bad, because it only has 100 health and it just dies so easily. So I was going to give it more HP. I really couldn't think of many other ideas. There was the double concussion mine that went through my mind, but I just thought that was too OP. It makes a lot of sense now, because it allows him to have more mobility and create more pressure. I just think without a damage nerf, it's so strong. Like, it's gonna be nuts, but we'll see how it pans out. Other changes, I really like how Trap is. I wouldn't change anything about Trap. It's a great ability in my opinion, and his auto attack, I wouldn't change any projectile speed or lob effect from it. I think it's in a perfect spot. It's just what Junkrat is. It's just his thing. His ultimate, I mean, other than HP buff, I wouldn't really change anything about his entire kit, to be honest.
We spoke a little bit about Doomfist before, and you've been playing a lot of Doomfist. Bronze to about Masters now that you've been doing the climb. I remember watching a stream and somebody asking you if you feel that he's like overpowered or too strong, and you just said simply yes. Do you feel that there's a lot of problems with what people are talking about, the one-shot punch and all that jazz? Bearing in mind that Roadhog had a very similar thing, had a lot of that taken away from him, and now he's effectively useless. What's your sort of stance on Doomfist, playing as much as you have of him?
Yeah, so I guess I'll just start with the Roadhog thing. People hated Roadhog. Like, you hook someone and you shoot them, and they can't even do anything because when they get hooked, they're stunned, and then you just shoot them and they're dead, and that's it. And it's kind of the same concept with Doomfist. When he charges in, it's a 4-second cooldown. You hit someone into a wall and they're dead. Like support heroes like Zenyatta, for example, that have no mobility and no CC effect, they're kind of just, they can't do anything about it. You can't even kill him half the time because he just, you know, comes around the corner, charges in, kills you, and then he'll punch up in there and slam out. So it's really not a fun thing to play against. It's a lot of fun to play, by the way, but it's not a fun thing to play against. In terms of people asking if Doomfist is overpowered, I would say no, but what I tell people is that his charge is overpowered. The ability for him to have a 4-second cooldown that he's able to charge in, get a kill, and then just get out immediately it's not, I don't think that's what Doomfist should really be. What I tell people is that I think they should make it so his auto attack is a little bit more part of his kit, because other than his 4 burst shots, it's kind of like, it's not even worth it to shoot because it takes so long for his ammo to reload. And like his uppercut and his slam, they do decent damage, right? But the problem is also, by the way, I like the 4-second cooldown on his charge, but the damage is just way too much. You shouldn't be able to kill someone in one charge. And the biggest part about the charge in general is that the hitbox is absolutely, it's just so big. It's so hard to miss. It would surprise
me if that's toned down maybe by the time that this video goes out, because there's been a couple of instances people showing that it's a little bit, it's like sort of the old hook, kind of a few bullshit situations.
It's just too hard to miss.
And lastly, we usually ask this in Master Guide, so I figured I'd ask it here as well. What is your best bit of advice that you could give somebody? What is your golden rule when it comes to getting better at Overwatch? Not necessarily just a Junkrat, but across all other heroes as well.
Okay, so a lot of people ask me this a lot. They're like, "Hey PP, I'm in silver. I'm trying to get to the next stage. Like, what are some tips?" And I'm like, dude, I have no idea how I can help you because I don't know your playstyle. I don't know what heroes you play. I don't know what mistakes you're making. But I can guarantee you're making mental mistakes. You're making situational awareness mistakes. And I feel like people tunnel vision really, really hard at the lower ratings that are trying to make it to the next step. And the best tip I recommend for people to fix that is to actually record your own gameplay, and then you can watch it to see if you can find any mistakes, and then you can mute the sound and you watch it again and see if you find any mistakes just by having the sound off, and then you can just listen to it. Don't even watch the video, just listen to it. See if you're making any mistakes with your callouts, something like that. Maybe you're saying too many words or saying callouts wrong, or maybe not making useful callouts. And you could also have someone else watch your video and try and find some mistakes. But increasing your situational awareness and you're stopping yourself from tunnel visioning will really help yourself a lot in climbing ranks in general in Overwatch. And that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. You can find all of PvP Twitch's details in the description below. He's doing a climb from bronze to GM with Doomfist. That might be worth checking out. Thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you next time.